3, 2, 1.
Atlas engine ignition.
Liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy rocket.
From Vandenberg Air Force Base in California, ULA presents live Atlas V launch coverage. At Space Launch Complex 3, an Atlas V rocket is fueled and ready to launch the NROL-79 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office. Good morning, I'm Amanda Cooker and I'm a structural engineer on ULA's Vulcan Centaur program and your host for today's launch. I'm joining you from Mission Control at Vandenberg Air Force Base. We are on track for liftoff at 9:49:51 a.m. Pacific Time. The launch count is currently holding at T-minus 4 minutes and the team is not working any issues at this time. This planned 30-minute hold gives the launch team time to conduct final systems checks and resolve outstanding issues prior to entering the terminal count. At the request of our customer, this morning's live mission coverage will conclude following confirmation of payload fairing jettison, which is scheduled to occur about 4.5 minutes after liftoff. We recently received a final briefing from Captain Jennifer Hayden, the 30th Space Wing's weather officer. The weather is within the launch commit criteria for today's liftoff. The probability of violating launch constraints is 0%. The ground winds are 4 knots out of the east, and the temperature is 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So the weather looks favorable, and we are proceeding towards liftoff with a planned T0 of 9:49:51 a.m. Pacific. This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. While final preparations for launch continue, here's a preview of what you'll see today.
The following profile details the important events of this mission using approximate times.
5, 4, 3, 2. We have ignition and we have liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket.
The Atlas RD-180 main engine ignites to lift the vehicle away from the pad. Shortly after liftoff, Atlas begins its initial pitch, yaw, and roll maneuvers to attain the proper ascent profile and minimize aerodynamic loads. The Atlas V reaches Mach 1, the speed of sound, at 81 seconds. At 89 seconds, the vehicle experiences maximum dynamic pressure. Approaching booster engine cutoff, the Atlas V is burning propellant at a rate of 1,600 pounds per second, traveling at approximately 8,700 miles per hour and located 77.5 miles in altitude and 140 miles downrange. Booster engine cutoff occurs 4 minutes, 3 seconds after liftoff. 6 seconds later, the booster stage is jettisoned. The first Centaur main engine start takes place 10 seconds after booster separation. At 4 minutes, 27 seconds, the payload fairing is jettisoned.
ULA is using an Atlas V 401 configuration rocket to launch the NROL-79 mission. This is the 70th Atlas V launch since the inaugural flight in 2002 and the 35th flight of the 401 configuration, the workhorse of the Atlas V fleet. Produced in Decatur, Alabama and Harlingen, Texas, the Atlas V 401 includes a Common Core booster powered by an RD-180 engine, a Centaur second stage powered by an Aerojet Rocketdyne RL-10C1 engine, and a 4-meter diameter payload fairing. On February 15th, the payload fairing, with the NROL-79 payload encapsulated inside, was transported to Space Launch Complex 3. The payload fairing was then lifted and mated to the Atlas V booster inside the Mobile Service Tower, or MST. This activity completes the stack and is the last major processing milestone. The MST is 260 feet tall and weighs in at nearly 11 million pounds. While in the service position, it provides rocket and payload support as well as protection from the weather. About 4.5 hours before launch, the MST is rolled to the park or launch position. The MST is moved about 250 feet southeast of the rocket, a trip that takes about 20 minutes. The Atlas V stands approximately 192 feet tall, or about 19 stories, and fully fueled, it weighs in at about 750,000 pounds. To lift the Atlas V away from the pad, the RD-180 engine produces more than 860,000 pounds of thrust. With the MST rolled back, the team completes its final tasks before exiting the pad. Once the pad has been cleared, the Atlas V is fueled and configured for launch. This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. This morning's launch is for the National Reconnaissance Office, or NRO. The NRO is a joint organization engaged in the research and development, acquisition, launch, and operation of innovative overhead reconnaissance systems necessary to meet the needs of the intelligence community and the Department of Defense. The NRO is recognized for its transformational intelligence collection systems that are used to develop highly accurate military targeting data, support international peacekeeping and humanitarian relief operations, and to assess the impact of natural disasters. For most missions, our customers provide artwork which is added to the payload fairing. For NROL-79, the NRO's artwork features Athena, Zeus's favorite child and the goddess of military victory and wisdom. Athena is the embodiment of wisdom, reason, and purity as she looks over the earth in her bid to impart knowledge to those she protects. Athena's shield, with its depiction of Medusa, is meant to frighten her opponents. The tip of the spear represents the warriors we are supporting, while Athena's owl mask represents wisdom. Finally, the Latin phrase means victory through intelligence. Today's launch is dedicated in memory of fire engineer Ryan Osler. An 18-year veteran of the Ventura County Fire Department, Osler was tragically killed on September 21, 2016, en route to assist the fight against the canyon fire here at Vandenberg Air Force Base. He was a third-generation firefighter, preceded in death by grandfather Bob Osler and father Ralph Osler. Ryan was known throughout the department for his work ethic and his willingness to go above and beyond the call of duty. He is survived by his wife Jennifer and their two children, Amanda and Brandon. With a love for aviation instilled by his father, Osler appreciated everything that left the ground and soared far above. As a thank you to Engineer Osler for his willingness and sacrifice to serve our community in a time of need, this rocket is being launched in his honor. May his legacy thrive for generations to come, and may his spirit continue to soar far above. We partner with the Air Force's 30th Space Wing to launch our Vandenberg missions. Yesterday, I had a chance to talk with Phil Anderson, ULA's West Coast Range Coordinator. Phil is our primary interface with the 30th Space Wing. So Phil, thank you so much for being with us here today. We just want to talk to you a little bit about your role as a range coordinator. What is it that you do?
My job as the range coordinator is to go make sure that all of the assets that are required to support us on the day of launch are ready to support our launch, that they have been tested, and that we have tested the vehicle with those assets to make sure that we have a successful event, because our partners in the 30th Space Wing are responsible for public safety, and there's many assets here on the base that ensure that.
So can you describe launch day for me in a little bit more detail?
Launch day around, for me, most of the time is several hours of peaceful quietness surrounded by sometimes minutes of chaos and seconds of insanity. So you have to be prepared to address any issue that comes up. between the range and the weather officers and the MIFCOs, or the flight safety officers, and those of us on the launch vehicle.
What would you say is one of your most memorable launches?
I think, although this one certainly has been memorable in that we've rescheduled the launch now twice, and it's been kind of a challenge to get there, I think probably from my perspective the most memorable was the last Titan 4B that we launched here, which was the last of that program. And it was a rather sporting day on the range, and the range was not bad, but we were not quite ready, so we had to run off the pad to support that launch. And we launched on a beautiful day, and everybody got to see it, and the next day was so foggy you couldn't see anything, so our backup day would have been a rather bleak day. But I think that's probably my most memorable.
Awesome. What advice would you give to future range coordinators, or what skills do you need to be a range coordinator?
I think the number one skill that I would recommend for those that want to take on a job like this is it's a networking job. It's important to be able to partner with all of the people that you work with and know what they need and what you need to get, and be able to negotiate through those functions. And I've always said that it's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know in this business, and it's one of those activities that requires networking.
Well, thank you so much for your time. We're really excited to see this launch.
Thank you.
L minus 8 minutes.
LC performing hold authority comm check on net 1. PD.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear as well. STC.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear as well. TC1.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear as well. TC2.
Loud and clear.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We remain in this planned 30-minute built-in hold as preparations for the launch continue. In a few moments, launch conductor Scott Barney will poll the launch team for the final go to pick up the countdown. 29 engineers and managers will be polled for system status and readiness to proceed. This is the final status check before launching for all Atlas vehicle systems, ground systems, the spacecraft, and the U.S. Air Force Western Range. The vehicle system readiness poll includes electrical systems, hydraulics, pneumatics, propulsion systems, flight control, and propellants. Let's listen as Scott Barney performs the final polling of the launch team.
3 minutes till restart.
Status check to proceed with terminal count. Respond go, no go. Atlas systems. Propulsion.
Go.
Hydraulics.
Go.
Pneumatics.
Go.
LO2.
Go.
Water.
Go.
Centaur systems. Propulsion.
Go.
Pneumatics.
Go.
LO2.
Go.
LH2.
Go.
Hazgas.
Go.
Electrical systems. Airborne.
Go.
Ground.
Go.
Facility.
Go.
RFFTS.
Go.
Flight control.
Go.
Comm.
Go.
Timer.
Go.
GCQ.
Go.
Umbilicals.
Go.
ECS.
Go.
Facilities.
Go.
Red line monitor.
Go.
Quality.
Go.
Ops safety manager.
Go.
ULA safety officer.
Go.
Vehicle system engineer.
Go.
Anomaly chief.
Go.
Range coordinator.
Clear to proceed.
Launch director.
Launch vehicle is ready to launch.
Mission director.
You have permission to launch.
Proceeding with the count. Timer T0 is planned for 17:49:51. Set count to start at 17:45.
Polling is complete and the launch team has given the go for launch. From T-minus 4 minutes until launch, you will be listening to launch conductor Scott Barney and his team performing the final steps in the countdown procedure. You will hear the team call out that Atlas LO2 topping has been secured, followed about a minute later by the call out for transferring the Atlas and Centaur stages from ground facility power to internal battery power. At T-minus 1 minute 55 seconds, the team will command the launch sequencer to start, followed shortly by securing the Centaur LH2 and LO2 topping activity. At T-minus 1 minute 40 seconds, the team will command the flight control system to launch enable and arm the flight termination system. In the final minute, the Atlas tanks will be verified at flight pressures, followed by verification of the Centaur tank pressures. A final status check of Atlas, Centaur, and NROL-79 readiness is conducted at T-minus 25 seconds. Seconds before liftoff, the RD-180 engine ignites and performs a health check before lifting the vehicle off the pad. After liftoff, you'll hear the voice of Marty Malinowski providing launch vehicle ascent data.
On my mark, the time will be T-minus 4 minutes and counting. 3, 2, 1, mark. T-minus 4 minutes and counting. 3:55.
Ground power is enabled.
The countdown clock has resumed and we are go for launch at 9:49:51 a.m. Pacific.
Three.
Securing LO2 topping.
Atlas tanks to flight pressure.
250.
FDS internal.
$159.
Vehicle internal.
155.
Launch sequencer start.
150.
Securing Centaur LH2.
Securing Centaur LO2.
140.
Launch enabled.
37.
FDS armed.
T-minus 1 minute 90 seconds. The launch vehicle, payload, ground systems, and western range are go for launch.
120.
OCU's armed.
FCS count started.
110.
Vent valves locked.
T-minus 1 minute.
1.
Rock, report range status.
Range is green.
Stable at step 3.
T-minus 30 seconds.
25.
Status check. Go Atlas. Go Centaur. Go NROL-79.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We have ignition of the RD-180 main engine. 1. Liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket carrying the NROL-79 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office.
program is complete.
You are hearing the voice of Marty
Roger,
Malinowski
Radius.
providing launch
Good at
vehicle
this
ascent
point.
data.
Pump speeds, injector pressures continue to look good. Current altitude is 5 miles. .151 miles per hour. Body rates continue to look good. Booster engine continues to look good at this point in flight. Pump speeds, injector pressures, right in band. Current altitude is 18 miles, downrange distance 14 miles, current velocity 2,479 miles per hour. Booster is now 1/2 its liftoff weight, and we have gone to alpha limited steering. Steering responses look good. RCS pyro valve fired. Now pressurizing to flight levels. Signatures look good. Current altitude is 31 miles, downrange distance 43 miles, current velocity 4,458 miles per hour. Body rates continue to look good. Currently accelerating at 3.3 Gs. And closed loop steering has been enabled. Really no transition rates to speak of. All looks good. Booster has throttled down as expected. Engine signatures look good. Currently at 50 miles in altitude, downrange distance 98 miles. Current velocity 600 miles per hour. Boost phase chill down is underway. We have fired the pogo pyro valve. And boost phase chill down is complete. We are throttling to 4.6 Gs in preparation for BECO. And we have BECO. Engine shutdown looks good. We have stage separation. We have LOX and fuel pre-start on the NROL-10. GN2 purge firing, the RCS is underway. We have ignition. And full thrust on the NROL-10. Chamber pressures look good. And we have indication of payload fairing jettison. Looks like a good step.
This is Atlas Mission Control at T+4 minutes 30 seconds. We've just seen the successful liftoff of the Atlas V rocket carrying the NROL-79 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office, and all systems continue to operate nominally. Liftoff occurred at 9:49:51 a.m. Pacific Time. At our customer's request, we will now conclude our live coverage. Thanks to ULA's Marty Malinowski for participating in today's show. For more information about ULA or the Atlas V, please visit ulalaunch.com or join the conversation on Twitter and Facebook. We'll leave you now with another look at this morning's liftoff. I'm Amanda Cooker, and on behalf of the entire launch team, thank you for joining us and have a great day. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We have ignition of the RD-180 main engine. 1. Liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket carrying the NROL-79 mission for the National Reconnaissance Office.